What did that transition after such a long season look like for you?
So after the last show, I would say it probably didn't take me like months to figure out that I need to grow. I think it took me until like the last show to just be like, okay, maybe we need to like, take a step back and grow a little bit, just take some time off the stage and stop prepping for a little bit and just focus on growing. So I went a little while and I'm like, what, I'm gonna grow everything. Maybe, competing, maybe we could just push it further aside. Let's just go crazy. And at that point, but I still wanted to diet down too. Like I still wanted to be lean, 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 which is, as we know, it's not attainable. But I was convinced that I could do it. And what I noticed was my hormones weren't 100%. Like my hair was starting to fall out. I was having like acne everywhere. My time of the month, I mean, I went probably like more than 3, 4 years without my time of the month. It would kind of come every once in a while, but after like the last like 2019 season, like I didn't have it at all. And I was like, oh, maybe it's time for us to get this back. And I might just need to gain a little bit of weight. So I told myself, okay, from here on out, I'm not going to diet. I'm just going to increase my food, but I'm not going to do, X amount of cardio. And I'm going to make sure that I'm not tracking, I'm going to try to eat a little bit more so I can gain the weight and get my period back. And once I do that, I'm going to wait 3 months. And then after those 3 months, then I can start, dieting again. So along that time, during that time, I started like increasing my weight and I could kind of see like, a little bit of weight increasing, but I was like, what, it's okay. And then I broke my foot. And that's where kind of everything just kind of was like, well, I couldn't, and it's funny because I was like, even though I was eating a good amount during, the time that I was trying to get my period back, I was still doing a lot of activity just because I really love just doing different things. But breaking my foot just kind of like held me back. I couldn't really obviously walk. I couldn't do anything. So I was like, okay, cool. So I guess this might be like a sign that I need to slow it down more because I still haven't gotten it. And it wasn't until I was like maybe like 125. And it wasn't until like I reached like 155 that my time of the month came back. And I was like, well, and then from there, I was like puffy and just like everything just, it wasn't me. And I would look back and I was like, God, like, what have I done? But I was like, I needed this. And then I was like, no, I need to stick with it. I can't go back on a diet until 3 months after this. And then I waited and then I was like, okay, it's time. I can go ahead and just slowly get back onto it. And then it was it took me a little while to get back to like the 130s, which is my like maintenance weight where I, can continue to have my time of the month and everything. I think it took me like a year and it was a slow transition, but I was like, I need to be careful with this because I don't want to lose it again. And then after that, like, I'm glad I did everything how it went down because after that, I was able to get my time of the month every month. Like my skin's clear, my hair stopped falling out, like everything just kind of like worked out really well. And I was like, okay, maybe and then at that point, I guess I realized that like maybe I shouldn't go back to competing at this time. I think that maybe I should just retire from bikini, just because like the amount of muscle that it required, the amount of I think it was more of like like the look that it had wasn't what I was envisioning myself getting, especially like how hard the girls were getting, and I knew like the amount of effort that I needed to get, like to put in to be able to get the glutes that they were asking. And that was like always my trouble area. So I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love how you painted that timeline. And I think, a lot of listeners can probably relate to seeing the scale weight going up and knowing that, like, okay, this isn't what I want to do, but this is what I need to do. Like, I need to be in a position where if I'm not going to be on stage and I'm not going to be actively competing, then I need to be in a position where at least I'm having that ovulatory cycle. And that's a big key component that I stress for athletes is like, hey, like if we're missing multiple periods and we're in season, like it's not healthy, but it is in a way expected. I would say it's more expected than if we're not in season. And if we're not in season and we're missing periods, that's something we need to take a closer look at. Like we can't even think about getting on stage or even starting a diet if you're not ovulating. Because essentially how I break it down for individuals is it's almost like if you have strict parents growing up who like you either have like parents who are like, oh, like you get a B minus on an exam, they take your keys away, you're grounded, or you have parents who are like, you come home drunk and like you were partying all night and they're like, hey, just don't do it again. That's essentially your HPA access, like deciding, okay, this is the point in which we're going to revoke the right for reproductive function. And oftentimes people will think, well, like, okay, well, that won't happen to me. If I do it slowly or if I do it strategically, I can avoid this. But it's like there absolutely is a threshold for each individual person in which their homeostatic parents are like, no, like I don't trust you to conceive at this point. Like you need to support yourself and take care of yourself better. And I think in the case where you were able to like commit to that, I think that's so it's so amazing. It's very brave of you considering you already had so much success on stage, which I think people can, oversimplify and be like, well, yeah, but health first. It's like, but at that time, like there still is a lot of pressure to stay on stage and stay in the mix. And especially when you know that, like, hey, like I see an increase in business when I am lean, when I'm posting these pictures, when I'm posting content. Whereas, I mean, like that is just the reality of social media. And with a platform like yours, it's like there are going to be people that are there for, what's superficial and what's exciting and what sells and what's sexy. And then those same people can see like, okay, well, this person's gaining weight, I'm going to dip out. And I know, having dealt with that myself, like people feeling like, okay, there's an expectation to be in the mix and to get back on stage, and or at least at a very minimum to be close to stage ready. And the fact that you're able to say like, no, I need to do this for me, like I need to stop these symptoms that I don't want to continue. I guess really at the time, were you and your husband, were y'all at all planning a family, or was that a part of the discussion?
No, it wasn't. I think it was more, I mean, my husband has always been like super supportive with my whole bodybuilding career and everything that I've ever wanted to do. He was always supportive. I mean, he's there at every show, like, fixing my hair, like, making sure that I'm perfect. Like he stresses when I'm the shows. I don't stress. He's like, no, no, let's go here, let's go there. Where's your bag? But anyway, no, I think at that moment in time, we still weren't thinking of kids. We are like, okay, we need a little bit more time. He was in medical school, and I think I was just doing it more for myself because I knew that if I did want to have kids, I needed to get this fixed. Um, so it was one of those things that I was like, I can't continue to do this because I know that I don't know what effects it's gonna have. Like, yes, I see a lot of competitors that have kids, but then I also have seen a lot of people with issues with having kids. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be a statistic. I want to make sure that I'm healthy and I'm at the best. Because what I want to always show is being healthy and, promote, you know, exercise and promote eating, eating well and promote this and that. And I believe that for myself, like that was just part of it. And I think what really helped, because I know that like you mentioned how, it could affect your business and everything. And that was really in the back of my head. I was like, oh my God, like how am I going to get business if I get, especially once I did get to the weight, I was like, oh my God, like would I hire myself? Like, but honestly, like business still kept coming in. And it was because I was still consistent posting. And I was kind of sharing the story of like, this is why I'm doing this and this is what this is. And once I started actually leaning out from like that 150 back down, like even more business started to come in too. And I was like, okay, awesome. Like, people, yes, they love my physique and they like me shredded, but at the same time, they still appreciate my physique even whenever I'm not that lean. I mean, once and I do have, how do I say? I mean, been building my physique for a very long time, so it is going to look a certain way, as yours is going to be even at the 150s whenever you were there. Like you still looked so good. Where it's like, once again, as I say, like we're still at that 1%. Like not many people like look the way that we do, whether we're on stage or not. So.